Hey, what's going on? It's been a while. Summer. Not really much going on, but out here in my garage, had a couple antlers here that I found this shed season that I want to try and repair, or I guess I don't know, bring back to life. I mean, look at this guy. Super old. I mean, they got lichen, pink chalky, broken. And that's this one. I'm actually going to take part of this beam and use it to patch that up. This one, it's just too bladed back there. I'll never get a fit. So I'm going to use this to kind of peg in the top, and I'm going to use some epoxy sculpt to just build that one back. This is going to be a multi-step process. Today I just want to mainly get them sanded down. I'm going to sand up all the flakiness. Try to get them smoothed out and that repaired. And that repaired tonight. That'll be my goal. So let's get started. All right, little update. I cut that piece of antler off to put on that fork. Kind of use that metal as like a dowel, glued it in. I think it looks a little rough, but you know, I'm gonna fill all that big hole and fill that in with epoxy sculpt. Right there. It's gonna fill that in, I'll sand it out, try to make that transition as smooth as possible. I sanded a lot of the lichen and the big flaky stuff off. These things are so chalky. Like, look at this one. Like, it is old. And this one is drying, but see, I kind of doweled that tine back there so I can fill it with epoxy sculpt, just give it something to grab onto. Because it was just so bladed back there, I'd never find a match. And then I did this little point too, it was chipped off. So I did the same thing, just put a little dowel in there to build the epoxy sculpt around. So yeah, those are just drying. And then I'll hit them with the sculpt. Sanding, more sanding. I'll get either, gosh, look how rough it is. I'll either get that Elmer's wood filler, or I'll just get a bunch of spackling. Haven't decided. Never done this before. But I'll fill in all these other cracks with one of those. Make them all smooth again. So it's definitely a multi-step process. But what do I have to lose? These are giant chalks. They're not worth anything to sell. They're definitely just a lot cooler to me than what they're worth and what their monetary value is. So anyways, gonna let these dry up, form some sculpt, and then I'll show it to you guys. All right guys, that glue for the dowel dried. Dowels, I doweled the crap out of it. Here's all the shavings, all the flakes I've sanded off so far. before I doweled and everything. So this guy is that big bladed one. Could not find a donor antler. I mean, that's just a big bladed G3 back there. So you saw the dowel and epoxy sculpting. Did the tip. After it dries, I'll come sand it down, then I gotta fill all this in. All these cracks are next. So there's that guy. I mean, it's not terrible for what it is, you know. And then, here's how this one turned out so far. Got that little piece of donor antler there. Well, I chose that piece of beam just because I think like this frontal, it just swoops well with that GE4. And then it's got that little bit of flare. Not enough to be a scoreable point, but just enough to give it a little more flair because this antler's pretty cool. So again, epoxy will dry, I'll sand that down, fill in all these cracks, and then I'll sand the whole antler again. And then it'll be time to color, hopefully, so. That's where we're at. It's like 10:30 at night now. So we'll let these dry. I'm gonna take them inside so kids don't mess with them. And then we'll see you on the next update. All right, next day, we got some supplies. So I've already started sanding this one down. I don't know why I didn't get white epoxy sculpt. In hindsight, that would have been way smarter. I'm starting to sand that one down, and then I'm going to fill in the cracks with some plastic wood putty. Just going to fill in all these cracks with it. This one, focus. This one I'm already doomed a little. I went in this morning before I left for work to check on it. I was like, all right, yeah, it's coming out good. And then for some reason when I left, you know, it's 5 in the morning, I set it tines down. So that resulted in that tip breaking off. So I'm trying to reform that as I go. So that's drying. I'm gonna focus on this antler. This is gonna take that. Just gonna shove it in these cracks. Fill them up. Really get it in there. Really hard to do one-handed and film it. You get the point. I'm gonna do that to this whole antler. Let's do that one real quick. That's a freaking gaper there. Whew. So yeah, that's the gist. I'm gonna do this whole thing real quick. All right, so this has been quite the process. I actually went camping for a couple days, so I've been working on them, but here is kind of how this non-typical's going. Got it, I mean, almost back to like a hard white kind of a look. So a lot better than how it was looking before, you know? That's the repaired tine. So I'm liking it. I mean, it's kind of passing the feel test. I don't feel any jagged edges or there's some chew marks here. I mean, you guys saw this thing was lichened, chewed, broken, rotted. So this one I'm pretty happy with. I mean, it's not perfect, but it was like a 50-year-old chalk, so what can you really do with it? I think it looks pretty good so far. Next thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take some latex paint, just some white latex, dilute it down, and I'm gonna paint this whole thing just one solid color white. That way everything is all just matching, a good base coat, if you will. And then after that dries, I am going to hit it with some stain. So that's where it's gonna get scary. I mean, I'm really trying to do the best on this, on the sanding part, because that's where you'll see a lot of your imperfections. You know, I just don't want it to look like I puttied it after it's painted and stained, but so far, so good on that guy. This other one, I mean, it was so chalky. If you guys remember, I broke this tip off. Well, I repaired it before I went camping. I was like, oh, and like a day went by and it still wasn't set. So I still gotta mold it some more. Anyways, it still wasn't set. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going camping for 2 days. I'll come back, it'll be set. I came back today. It's still like, I mean, this is the clay right here. Like, it's still workable. It came off the tip. So I ripped it off all the way back down to the tip of that, you know, those dowels I put in, and I'm remolding it. So I just kind of got to keep shaping it as it's drying. But I have gone ahead and started filling it in. This guy's got a lot of knobs down here, which hopefully will come out good after stain and paint and everything. But you remember how pink and chalky this antler was? So, I mean, it's getting close to a hard white. What is that? It's getting close to a hard white finish again. Just gotta work on, I mean, this tip is good. It's sanded down once it paints, so you won't even be able to tell. This tine up here still needs quite a bit of work. Obviously, I still gotta mold this thing around. It keeps bending. And anyways, I'm gonna keep playing with that until I get the shape I want. And then I'll hit it with some putty through here just to kind of smooth it out all the way. Give it that latex paint and stain it. So far, 40-year-old chalks to back to almost hard white. So I'll let you know how these next steps go. And then I don't know how this video is going to turn out. I've just kind of been, you know, popping updates. If these end up turning out good, I'll go find some more chalks. It's my freaking specialty, really. And I'll redo them again and make a better video, but you guys are getting the general idea. If you don't, this is mostly, I got this technique from, I believe it's White Bones Creation. He's on YouTube. It was Antler Body Shop, Chalk to Brown. I don't know. I don't remember what the title was, but anyway, yeah, go check out his video. He's basically the technique I'm using. I don't think he did antler repair in his. That I just kind of shot from the hip. But yeah, anyways, I'll show you guys after I paint them. Okay, so before I paint them up, I wasn't getting real happy with the how smooth they were. Like they were still kind of like a cheetah print kind of in places. Cheetah print, best I can describe it. Just you can see some of the really fine cracks through there. So what I did, I'm really happy with it now. You can see this tine's getting all blended in right now. It's drying, so basically I just took this this wood putty I was using, and I added water in it to make it more of like a paste. And then it really spreads on there nice and evenly. And it was really hard to like get these tines. Like the tines were all chewed up and cracking, or the tips of the tines. It was just really difficult for me to get in there. And then there was some, I don't know if I can find another spot. Kind of, see in there, see how it's still a little rough? Just take this, now it's like just a paste. So it really gets into that fine stuff. And I just rub it in there. And then as it dries on my hands too. My hands basically become like a sandpaper. So I just keep rubbing until it's dry. Add a little more if I need to. Just a dab. Rub it in, and as it dries, I'm just barely rubbing too, like just barely touching it, just so it gets in there enough. And then it comes out nice and smooth when you paste it like that. So I'm gonna run over a few spots on this antler again, and then I'll paint. All right, guys, I painted the non-typical already. I've started painting this one. Basically, you just take a white latex-based paint and water it down till it's like milk, and then just coat the whole thing so it's one even base color, you know, just like when an antler comes out of velvet. It's all white until they rub it. So that's the stage we're at. Also, putting water in this, making it a paste, time saver. Like, so much more workable. I wish I would have known that when I first started. I'd leave it in like how it comes to get the big cracks, but then I'd paste it down and just really do that technique. It would save so much time. So anyways, just get my milky paint here. Lather it up. Also, that pasting it works so well because you don't want to put too much wood putty on. Because, you know, the antlers naturally have those veins and ridges and valleys that you'll get all the different variations of brown when they rub, you know. So you want to keep that, but just get rid of all the cracks from the sun. So pasting it down like that really helps with that. So 10 out of 10 recommend. Anyways, just gonna paint these up, let them dry overnight, and then start staining them. All right, got these guys all painted. Let them dry overnight. Yeah, see, it's kind of back to like a hard white now. Can't even really tell that I replaced that. Most of that beam right there. I mean, it was broken from all the way back here. All that. So today is staining day. I do not like staining day. So document this because this might be the best they ever look. I may regret ever staining them. But man, from what they were to what they are right now, crazy difference. I mean, you guys remember? It's only been a couple minutes for you guys, I guess. It's been days for me working on these things. Just how pink and chalky this one was. They all had lichen. This one was rotted out, that whole front end. Pretty much. So, staining day. I've always been against using stain on antlers. Never liked the idea of it. But I saw this technique and he painted the antler with this white latex paint. And supposedly the paint's gonna want to reject the stain, which gives you that really natural look. Fingers crossed, these things turn out good, but I mean, for being as chalky as they were, And this is a huge improvement already, so I'm happy with it. I am going with Early American. Seems to be the most popular stain color to use for antlers. So, here we go. I'm so nervous to stain these. I hate stain. I hate it. I'm like kind of sick to my stomach. All right, here we go. Oh God. Oh God. Oh no. I mean, it is rejecting it, but oh my gosh. This seems too dark. It's Early American. Oh, okay, I'm gonna hit this really good with both hands. I'm so nervous. Okay. All right, each one has a coat that I just put on drying. I mean, not bad, really. We'll let these dry, maybe hit it with another coat. And then we'll knock off the shine. And they'll be done. Not too bad so far. I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad about it. Anyways, we'll let these dry for a few hours and hit them with another coat. Back in the garage. Been letting these dry. I did the first coat, Early American, second coat, Ipswich Pine. I've been letting them dry to see how they get really glossy. And it's just kind of one even coat. I mean, there's some changes in there, but now today is hopefully the final step. I'm just gonna take some quadruple aught steel wool, just kind of dust them. Should take off the sheen, get rid of the glossy feel. Kind of like a, I don't know, a sticky feel too. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'm also gonna take a little sponge and some mineral spirits, and I'm gonna use this to kind of wipe the tips, just to remove some of that stain, get it down to that white. I mean, it looks like the, the polished tips. So I'll show you when I'm done. I'm calling it. Calling these things done. I probably stripped them down and redid them. Like stripped them down, painted them white, stripped them down, painted them white, stained them, painted them white. Probably at least 3 times a piece. Just couldn't get the color I was looking for. I wanted kind of the lighter color with highlights coming through, but so this is 2 coats of Ipswich Pine colored stain. Kind of gives you a little bit of that redder look to it, which I like for this one. And then this one is, I did a 50-50 mix of Ipswich and Early American. And then second coat, I just hit it with a little Early American. And they show up a lot glossier in the camera than what they are with the naked eye. But I think they turned out pretty good for, I mean, from what they were to what they are. Remember, that beam was completely gone. That tine was cut in half, that one. Tip was missing on that. So, anyways, these are my results. If you like it, try it out, play with it, give it your own spin. It was pretty fun, really, just experimenting different ways and getting different results each time. So for freaking 40-year-old chalks to, I mean, I can at least set them on the shelf and they look halfway decent. So mission accomplished.